if people wrote something in English, sent to Ouagadougou, translated into other languages, and sent to the rest of the world. This was the idea that Thomas Sankara had. And unfortunately, truly unfortunately, after his death, the organization wasn't able to survive. But it was the dream. So part of it is, and what he wanted to do, if Black people are living, for example, we had a student to do a dissertation here at Temple on Afro-Mexicans. And she discovered that there are more than 200 villages, predominantly Black villages in Mexico. So, but if you don't know that there are 200 Black villages in Mexico, over 200 Black villages in Mexico, and you live in Colombia, which is, further south, you skip over Mexico coming to the United States because you've heard of the Black people in the United States, largely because of the political power and economic power of the United States of America itself. That's why you've heard of the 40 million Blacks here, but there are just about 40 million Black people who live in Colombia. And there are also, as I said, 100 million Black people who live in Brazil. So part of this, we don't know each other. And the Black people who are living in Europe, in Germany, in France, in Russia. When I went to Russia, in last February 2020, February 2020, I go to Moscow, and lo and behold, one of the first people I meet is a Black person, at the hotel. Second thing is that I go to the university, and there are all these Black students from all over Africa, because the university I was at has a student from every country in Africa. They deliberately did this. They said, if we don't have a student from Botswana, we send somebody there to recruit a student, and we bring them to the university, we pay their tuition. So every country in Africa is represented at Rudin in Moscow. And this was and then so I meet these African people in Moscow, and I say, wow, they don't know about the African people in Germany. They don't know about the African people who are in France and so forth. So all of this has to happen, but we will get there. But that's part of the interconnection. And I think that Dr. Anderson, who asked that question, who is one of the leading experts on Afrofuturism, contemporary Afrofuturism, he's doing a big job himself in bringing us together. And I really appreciate that.
Do you have time for one more?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So Charlotte, I can't see her last name. She asked, how do you help people who are so attached to Christianity and are afraid to let go of it and Jesus?
Well, you keep working with people. You see, Christianity was forced upon us. It was not even our choice. We didn't choose it. We didn't choose Islam. They were forced on us through the gun and through threats. And African people were enslaved by both Muslims and Christians. I asked myself, I don't even understand it. I don't understand how Black people can be either. That's just I don't understand it. I'm not saying it's not understand. I'm sure somebody can make sense of it. I can't understand it. How in the world can you take on the concept of God? Because the concept of God that was given to you by your slave master. How can you, people who think of you as savages and primitive, no, you can't do this. That is the problem. But what it is that I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I can only use myself as an example, and that is that I read myself out of it. I thought myself out of it. And so when Louis Farrakhan told me when I was a student at UCLA, young man, because you're so eloquent and you speak so well, the nation needs you. I went to the nation once and I said, well, from what I can tell, the nation doesn't need me and I don't need the nation. The same is with Christianity. I said, you know what? From what I can tell, they don't need me and I don't need them. Because my goodness comes from the fact that being a human being, and being a human being who believes that if you are good and kind to other people and you take care of yourself, what else is there? You take care of your children, what else is there? You know, that's my thing. So I know it's tough because people, I think part of it is fear. And I think what the fear is, the fear of dying, but we're all going to die. So I don't have that fear. I think that that is, I mean, the thing is that if that's the thing, then you have to overcome that. And maybe people don't ever overcome it. But for me, I think that that's not a issue. I'm willing to live fully.